All right, welcome everyone. Another edition of Late Night on Base. First of all, this episode is brought to you by Albemarle, baby, the City Council of Albemarle. Basically, where dreams come true. No, the CCP cannot take my lithium on the Solana blockchain. Man, I love that project. There is no better community than the Albemarle community. They are the lead sponsor today. Actually, they'll be the lead sponsor for a little bit. We also will get a legitimate VC backed one eventually, a couple of them. But hey, Albemarle, baby, the best community on Solana. Really like those guys. I feel like I'm a lady. And we are going to showcase their project literally every show. But we also want to give a shout out to our supporting sponsors as well. Banker, agentic tooling on Base that allows agents to interact on their own and deploy and basically operate autonomously. And BV7x. They are also agentic play on Base, and they provide predictions. And their consensus is your alpha. Super stoked about what Misha and team are doing, actually. They got some news. They got staking. They got compute, all the right things. So we're going to have them on. Shout out to basically everyone tuning in. All right, so listen. And also, today we're excited. I'm going to have Quinn on, Quinn MARKWITH. He is a badass economist. And he just comes from yesterday we had Finance Freeman on. Hopefully you guys tuned in. Amazing combo. I like talking to guys who understand trenches, but also comes from a macro, legitimate founding point of view. So you can kind of blend the best of both worlds. Finance Freeman was like that today, and I know Quinn's like that as well. He knows a lot about this space. So we're going to talk to him. News of the day really is not much, except if you're not, dabbling on Robinhood Chain, do you not like money? I mean, I don't know. I honestly think that Robinhood Chain is so much fun. And I think it's basically everything that we envisioned Base to be before Base dropped the ball. And I wasn't around. I mean, I was around, but I had never really messed with the Solana trenches back in 2023. So I don't know what the excitement or the energy was like back then. Even Base, I didn't know exactly what the excitement was like. And I got into Base in 2024, and there was a whole run up. 2024 springtime, no, January, February time when everything went up. So I was late to that. So what people are saying is Robinhood Chain, that excitement, that energy is exactly kind of what people basically what people have noticed in the past on Solana. So I'm excited, man. I think we're early. I think everyone in this is pretty early still. I don't see it going away. Just checking my portfolio right now, just making sure, if you guys follow me, I'm basically pointing out stuff that I'm in. Yeah, man. Good times. Good times. Hopefully you guys like my intro, by the way. It's a new intro. Shout out to Clip Guy, who's my clip editor. He came up with that. So I think it's pretty dope. Anyways, without further ado, let's bring up the man, the myth, the legend, Quinn MARKWITH. How are you doing today, sir?
Hey, good. How you doing, Bill?
I'm well. First of all, introduce yourself, my friend. In this nice high-rise building, you must be somewhat important. Am I correct?
Thank you. And I did love the intro, by the way. Very good. Yes, my name's Quinn. I started out, as you said, as a macroeconomist working in London at a firm called Capital Economics. Covered Latin America, specializing in the Andean economies, plus Venezuela, Argentina, forecasting GDP, interest rates, currencies, that sort of thing. During that time that I was there, I was the only economist really at the firm that had an interest in crypto at all. They wanted, my opinion. They didn't really like it. That's okay. I understood at the time why. But yeah, hopped into working in crypto, working more with markets in 2020, trying my hand at sales at eToro. Then jumped into the on-chain world professionally, working at a market maker, a dev shop, and then eventually helping to start a market maker from scratch, doing BD and helping on the token research side as well. And in recent years, I've been, in the last 24 months or so, I've been moving into more so trading, my own family book, and helping advise some VC family offices, and more recently working at an AI startup, but always keeping my eye on crypto and its developments, In the last 2 years, really the developments on AI and how it converges with blockchain has really ignited my interest a lot and changed the whole game for me. So,
what is it about AI converging with crypto that really captures your attention and kind of has now driven you to make more of an impact in this industry as you are navigating this world? What is it about AI and crypto?
yeah. So for me, I'll be honest. When I first got into it, I approached it. My interest was more, that of a macroeconomist. I was thinking about Bitcoin as a sedimentary layer for the global economy. Potentially one day, I was pretty convinced that eventually it would get there. I didn't know how long it would take. Maybe 10, 20 years. But in the back of my mind, I always had this thesis that in the future, given the structure of the macroeconomy and how delicate it is, and how it seems that it's on a path to some kind of crisis that's going to be transformative, that perhaps Bitcoin, blockchain, these kind of things are going to be playing a role in that. Maybe it's a escape valve. Maybe it'll be a nice way for the future economy to be more efficient. But yeah, I did not see the developments in the last 2 years that we've seen coming on AI. And when I saw that, and I put together, everything that people had a critical view of Ethereum were saying, right, which had some valid things. Not everyone's going to want to use it. It's nice for speculation, but it's kind of hard to go and manually expect anybody to want to just use it for day-to-day things. When I saw what we're seeing develop in AI and how fast it's developing, I started to put it together that, okay, this is actually what AI would need if it were to become fully functional economic actor in the world that is impactful enough to make kind of the grand changes to the monetary order, fiscal order, however you really want to slice it. When you're looking at human endeavors, you really do need, in my opinion, AI agents would need, in my opinion, to scale to that degree. You need something like an Ethereum or a Solana, Sui. I think agents will naturally choose wherever they operate best, wherever the path of least resistance is, wherever they can be most profitable and serve humans the easiest.
Oh, okay. I agree with your consensus, and it's interesting because a lot of the people from the macro world have always been basically Bitcoin only. Everything else is no needed and whatever for the longest time. But I do think now the smartest minds are kind of understanding the intersection of AI and what it means for the impact in crypto. Now, one of the other things that's interesting about you is so you do have this um, economic background. You also have, and you're very well versed in the professional world. You have this interest in AI. One thing I find very interesting, though, about you is you're also understanding of what's going on in the trenches. A lot of the people that follow my show, obviously, we have a blend, right? And that's something that separates me, in my opinion, and a lot of other media people. I can speak to the corporate types, the VCs of the world. We're going to have one confirmation on today with Brett. He had to reschedule, so we're going to reschedule with him in 10 days. But I also know how to speak to the DGens, the crypto people. It interests me. Shout out again to the Albert Marley family. You also have that interest. What is it about the trenches, per se, that kind of captures your interest? Is it just purely a financial thing? Do you think it's fun? Do you think there's a role? What drives you to even care about that sector?
Yeah, I think as the economy, as you have this like monetary loosening over time, driving people into certain types of work in the tech field, and you have a certain type of economic actor, similar to myself at certain points, where you're struggling to get by on a London salary, you're working really hard, you need something else. Lots of people find it appealing, and the meme coin casino, the crypto casino. A lot of the negative things people say about it, of course, it's like, and that exists with every form of trading, right? Most traders lose. There's gambling addiction. There's all these issues, and these are things to be really concerned about. But what keeps me looking at it and hyper interested in it is, it is the cutting edge of that marriage of AI and crypto. We're seeing that every day. I'm watching and seeing projects at that cutting edge providing cutting edge, providing new ways of tackling issues that we haven't really seen up until the last few years. And then I look at, things like the memetics of a meme coin. And I think, and I've thought a lot about this lately. I've thought about what the global economy looks like after labor is no longer the key input in terms of what humans can provide. If it's truly going to be a machine-ran economy, you have robotics, AI, and compute being the key elements that people are actually going to be competing over, and the machines are going to be competing over. I sort of think about the way that communities galvanize around a meme coin, and the way that it's this hypersensitive market for attention with real money on the line. And these are people who, not every one of them is researching it to the fullest extent that maybe they should, and that's okay. It's up to each person what they want to do. They care about the outcome. They're hyper concerned about making a return, and so they're going to be judging, how much attention could this asset be giving? Is it worth galvanizing as a community around this thing, whatever it is? And I think in the future, when the cost of labor goes down, and the key resource left is attention and your time, I think that I kind of view the whole meme coin market as a dress rehearsal for that kind of economy. So that's kind of how I've been looking at it, the frame I've been looking at it lately. It's hard to imagine when robotics and AI does what it could do to the labor market, like you hear Elon Musk talk about this sometimes, and he's expressed for this reason his interest, not necessarily his support of any individual meme coin, but his interest in them. I think he's touching on sort of the same thing that I'm trying to touch on here, if that makes sense.
No, it makes a lot of sense, actually. And that's an interesting perspective, because I sometimes also think about what is life like post AI in robotics, when things actually converge in the real world. Like, what we're seeing is just a little bit of labor force getting cut. What happens when really production value is just dropped to zero and people lose their jobs, people are displaced? Makes me think, what is society like, right? And so one of the theses that I have always thought was, okay, in real life, connection is going to be needed more than ever. I think people are going to feel very isolated. I think people are going to feel very alone. I think it's going to be a very difficult time for many, but I think those that come together, they're going to see more people band together. So that means, in my opinion, in real life, meetups, events out will do well. But also, if you look at what happened in 2020, when that whole thing went down, people came together with memes. People came together to form a bond with people all around the world with a common goal, common interest, is whatever meme that was. Sounds silly, but it's the truth, because for them, it's isolation reduction, anxiety, less anxiety. It's kind of why sports teams do pretty well. It's a common interest. And I think for those that don't know, who was it? The big XPX guy. He did a huge talk, Mustat Murad, and he basically said that. So I agree with your consensus, and it makes sense. What kind of memes, though, do you particularly like to see? Because obviously it's a very saturated market. How do you go from a perspective of an economist, supply and demand, and there's just so much supply, very little demand?
Yeah.
How do you point out the ones that, you think have a little bit more long-lasting power?
Yes. So without, I'm going to try to be, not take too much of a position on any one, but I like to sometimes think about, the market for a meme is like this big arena for attention, right? The best ones do have some combination of having a lot of attention that's natural, viral. That takes having a good venue, your marketing, etc. And then, of course, you have the behind the scenes element, which I hope, like with any kind of digital asset, you have the room. There's still room, unfortunately, for this human interference between, what a blockchain is supposed to be. What blockchain is supposed to be, and why I think AI is going to thrive on it is blockchain makes the cost of lying really high, and it rewards truth and virtuous behavior, where you're held accountable for your past behavior. It puts that on a pedestal where I think it should rightfully be if you're going to have a machine ran economy. A lot of the worst outcomes we've seen, whether it's with Terra Luna or some scammy meme coin or anything, there's plenty of examples. It's that human getting in the way of that transmission mechanism of what the blockchain can do, which is actually be a great oracle of truth, right? So I like to think about how in the future, you have platforms like X that are already making moves to sort of marry with the blockchain and allow users to, one, have a voice, have their identity connected to that voice in the way of that identity being connected to a wallet. And, then I think about all the agents. Some experts put the number of agents being 10x the amount of humans on Earth at any given point, who are going to be able to see from their, whatever that perspective looks like as a machine, see all that activity, see all the metrics for attention being on chain, and that X being the venue for the attention. It's like this big auditorium, right? I've naturally kind of been interested from that intellectual perspective in some of the memes which are taking that foothold in X. And Base with the development of the banker technology has done a really good job of unlocking some of that creative potential, and tapping into some of those memes that I think Elon Musk may have had in mind when he was talking about this back in the COVID times. And so I kind of see this future where some of the most successful, impactful coming together of humans can be around some sort of tokenomic system, right, that would mirror in many ways, hopefully, what a not scammy, healthy, tokenized project of any sort would hope to achieve, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And it's very interesting to hear it from that angle. Now, another thing, you're a very interesting guy, man. Very interesting guy. And for those, shout out to the 1,691 people tuning in live late now on Base, Bill with Quinn, MARKWITH. So you reached out to me, and I'm glad you did. You're a very interesting guy because your interests are unique. People who come from the legal world typically stay in the legal world. I actually have a legal background as well. One of the things too that you're interested in, besides obviously AI, besides the trenches, is also media. I know you've shown an interest in being on stage, getting interviewed, yes, but also telling your story, but also, perhaps interviewing others, this and that. What is it about media in today's world that interests you? Is it more the angle of getting the information out there? Is it more about building that personal brand in an era where AI can't take that brand away, which makes it even more valuable? What do you like in media?
Yeah. So in recent weeks, what's really inspired me to get out there again is that last part that you mentioned. I've been thinking about how, okay, what can't be automated away from me? And that's the human side of me, the part of me that actually enjoys what I'm doing. Ironically, is the part of that is hardest to automate, right? So if I enjoy talking to people, I enjoy exploring ideas. Hopefully, nothing can take that away from me. So I thought, may as well get back out there. I remember I was a bit more media facing during my economist days and in the early stages of the crypto bull market in 21, 22. And, I'd always been somebody who spent a lot of time reading online, looking at things, and kind of behind the looking glass, just thinking about the systems, and that can be cool. But after a while, it's, in order to not go crazy, at least for me, you got to be a bit more of a partaker. And I think doing this kind of stuff, media, talking to people, is a nice way to be a bit more of an action taker for me. And so, yeah, I'm really happy to be on the show. I hope I can keep doing this sort of thing with you.
Oh, no, totally. So do you think, from a perspective of personal branding, how important do you think it is now that you see what AI is going to do? How do you think, what would you say? Do you think everyone should try to build their personal brand as much as possible to kind of secure themselves as best as possible to the uncertainty of what's going on? Or what importance do you think people should place on building that brand?
I think a lot, and I get that. I say that from having been in the hiring seat at a startup in a hyper competitive space like digital asset market making, we would pick, even in the engineering seats, which I was not qualified to really hire for at all. Your online activity, your LinkedIn for sure. There's engineers who have a great X profile. There's engineers who have a great Substack, and these things absolutely help in hiring. The willingness to put your reputation, your thoughts on the line. I think it's an indication of having balls and having the ability to not be afraid of criticism. I think that's for one, a really hireable skill, being able to take feedback. And yeah, it's usually a good indication of a lot of things, and it's proof of work, right? If you're putting your stamp of your work out there in some way, if you can, it's going to help you, whether you're an engineer or salesperson. It's particularly helpful if you're a salesperson. That's why I really needed to get a move on and getting out there again. But it looks like it's going to be that way for just about every profession.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I just think, AI can take away a lot of things, your jobs and whatnot, but they can't take your identity. I don't think robots are going to become, media people anytime soon, maybe, but with deep fakes and stuff. But I think that's still a long ways to go. A few more minutes before we have to let you go and bring up Misha from BV7x. Talk to me about Robinhood. Talk to me about your thoughts, because again, I think you can bring good insight, not only from a trading perspective, but you come from the economic background, and obviously Robinhood is at the king of the financial system. People trust it. I don't know how many users they have, billions. Is it a big deal for the crypto world and also for traditional finance that Robinhood is entering the arena?
Yeah, I think so. I think what we saw with the advent of modern phenomena of meme coin stocks or meme stocks with GME in 21, 22, the biggest trading venue for Americans, much like in the UK, my former employer eToro was, but just on another level, I think 10x the size. Yeah, I mean, just based off the sheer number of users who are now getting easy access to a blockchain wallet, it's massively important for the retail speculative crowd for AI stocks and crypto. It looks like they're taking a really big stab at the market share of Base, and they're already winning the attention market now. I made an X post about this the other day, that they had to have the advantage of what seems to be a bigger budget right now, a little bit looser guardrails for communication, which the crowd loves, and also the advantage of having learned from what works and what doesn't. You can, if you play it safe, that can be great. And there's a lot of arguments to playing it safe, but right now, Solana as a chain didn't really play it safe, and it to be honest, it looks to me like the activity there has a little bit more of a beating heart, even after the crash and burn of the market that we've seen last year. There's a bit more spirit there, and there's something to that, I think, about being a bit more organic, being a bit more loose in some ways. Robinhood seems to be having the right mind of trying to pick the best of both worlds here. So yeah, I think they're probably going to be a big player in what's to come. Not a difficult bet to make.
Not a difficult bet. Yeah, I think Robinhood is here to stay, and I think it's what Base should have been. Honestly, what people imagined, the backing of a institutional grade company, but also understanding what's going on, and from literally the other day when the founder of Robinhood just shouted out memes, it kind of gave this energy of like, oh man, this chain actually understands it, and it doesn't take much. And Brian Armstrong has had all the opportunity to say that, and it's very disappointing to see he doesn't care. So yeah, I think competition. I think Base has a lot of competition. We've had the head of marketing on, Zen on, and I know the team very well. But everything that they're trying to do, Robinhood's trying to do it as well. Tokenized stocks, Robinhood's going to do it. Competition, it's the name of the game, but Base has to just, the one thing they do have is a whole community that's willing to understand the tokenomics and get in chain and, support builders. And that doesn't just mean a couple builders. It means let the trenches eat, let them get excited, bring opportunities, because green candles is the best form of marketing. Quinn, any last words, man? And by the way, I look forward to, for those 2,400 people plus tuning in, me and you probably going to cook together. I'm excited to kind of bring you on into the full business development, and I think me and you can do very big things. So I'm excited about that.
Great.
But any last words, brother, that you have for the people tuning in?
Yeah, just one more thought on that last bit. I would bear in mind as well. It's easy to get caught up in like the short term stuff, but I have a feeling soon, if AI keeps developing, how we're seeing it, that whole sector is probably going to have a roaring comeback. Hopefully, let's see. Not making a price call, but the builders in that sector are definitely really strong on base. So I think once the conditions are right for the market to be picking up a little bit more, we're still in a bit of a dead zone overall. Of course, everyone knows that. Things can change, and I think the healthy competition between the two types of chains, ultimately, it's bullish for Ethereum as that underlying infrastructure for AI agents, like I was saying earlier. So it's healthy competition overall, right?
Yeah, and we have builders like Misha who's building BV7x on base, but also exploring it. So I know, listen, I think the only sector, in my opinion, and shout out to Stallone, thank you for joining. Nice stream. Thank you for joining, my friend. The only sector that gives me somewhat hope on base is agents, AI, robotics, maybe, but things like Misha's doing, Banker's doing, virtuals, I guess, to a certain degree, but that's not even really. Their run has been not because of base, though.
Yeah.
Base has had nothing to do with it. I've said many times, and again, Banker's a supporting sponsor along with BV7x. Without Banker, the chain would have been ghost town, man. Chain would have absolutely been ghost town. And now you're starting to see some of the smartest builders in AI going to Solana. Solana's had the longest, reputation as just a chain for degens. Not anymore. Not anymore. There's EZA Kickstarter, doing hackathons with Harvard people coming from giving out billions of dollars. So base has competition. I'm sure Robinhood will enter the arena, but I do feel that, the only sector that, in my opinion, will thrive, if any, is AI. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Quinn, my friend, thank you for coming on. We will obviously be in touch. I'll send you some stuff over, documents, also clips, and I look forward to just working with you, man. It'll be good.
Sounds good. Likewise, Bill, and thanks for having me on.
Awesome, man. All right, everyone. That is Quinn, a world-renowned economist / lawyer / in the trenches with all of us, who has an interest in media and will be helping and joining the Late Night on Base team. So I'm looking forward to that. He'll be in charge of BD. And I think, here on Late Night on Base, we talk about a lot of things with different people, different interests, not just trenches, but also not just corporate talk, because otherwise who's going to tune in for that? So he'll be a welcome addition to the team. All right. Before we bring Misha on from BV7x, a word from our sponsor for the day. Again, our supporting sponsors are Banker and BV7x, and our presenting sponsor for this month is Albemarle City, baby. A message from them.
In fucking Vegas.
Water, air, land, opportunity.
We're up in Albemarle.
Water, air, land, opportunity. Water,
Albemarle.
air,
Albemarle.
land,
Albemarle.
opportunity.
We're up in Albemarle. Oh shit. Oh shit. Oh shit. Oh shit. Let that water down. In fucking Vegas. Oh shit. Oh shit. Oh shit. Oh shit. Let that water down.
Niggas never had a city token, city token, city token, city token. Niggas never had a city token. Niggas never had a city token, city token, city token, city token, city token. Niggas never had a city token. Niggas never had a city token.
Let's fucking go. Albemarle, baby. Damn it. That jam didn't pump you up. I don't know what does. Speaking of communities, shout out to them. So much fun. Great community. And especially in the rise of the AI world, I think community is going to matter more than ever. I think people need to feel a sense of belonging. I think any project that is out there that makes you feel that way is going to do very well in the coming forward. Again, nothing I say is financial advice. I just think it's cool. Shout out to them. But yes, now we turn the page and now we bring up our other supporting sponsor, Misha from BV7x. And I like these guys a lot, I think. And as I said, I think the only type of projects on base that are going to do very well are projects like his. And I'm in it for the long run. He's in it for the long run. But he also has exciting news with compute and also maybe some news on different chains. So why don't we bring in the myth, the legend, Misha? How are we doing today, sir?
Doing well, man. Thanks for having me on here again.
I see you have the I see again you have the Yeti, but I don't think the Yeti is connected. Am I correct? Doesn't sound.
Is it not? Wait. 1 second here.
I hear an echo, but hey, it's all good because as long as your presence is here, that's all that matters.
It is the Yeti. I don't know why there is an echo, but I hope it's not so bad. I hope your audience can hear me. I hope you can hear me.
I think they could hear you loud and clear. My friend, what's new, dude? I mean, there's a lot. Let's just start from the beginning, man. I mean, since we last spoke, obviously things have taken off in your end. And one thing I like about you is you don't care about the price in the short term. And that's awesome because a builder shouldn't care about that. You just need to build, and then the market eventually will come your way. And that's what you've been doing. So share us some news to the 3,000 plus people tuning in live.
Yeah, okay. I mean, since you have 3,000 people listening, I think I should just start off with a little context. So for those that are unfamiliar with BV7x, it's a protocol that incentivizes compute for prediction markets. So it's designed for agentics, meaning anyone can wire up their models or bots to predict price action. And we're rolling this out in very much like a phased rollout. The first piece was staking compute. So BV7x being the compute token that went live 2 days ago. And we actually have like roughly 30% of the supply already staked, which is insane. I wasn't expecting that to happen so fast. Right now, staking your compute only it's the only revenue that's coming in there is just bootstrap rewards. So we bootstrapped with like 1 billion rewards with BV7x. But the idea is that the token, the compute token, is very much this utility token that is required to stake in order to enable forecasters or model strategists to be able to participate in the prediction markets. And then with your staked BV7x, not only can you earn bootstrap rewards, but you can earn revenue from the protocol, and that's coming from people that want to buy the signal. And so the whole idea is that through like competition, through agentic competition, there's a robust signal for prediction markets that's generated that can be licensed. And so the infrastructure is pretty much like all built out, but because like we want to do this in a very safe and secure way, we're just rolling out staking first. And then there's a lot of exciting things to talk about today. So I'm not exactly sure where to start, but I'll leave it there for now.
Well, I think the compute aspect's very, very bullish in that sense, because for those who understand, the more these AI models are being used, the more that our world is heading towards that direction. Compute's going to be needed more than ever. That's what basically powers all these LLMs and stuff. When did you realize, and I want to do the demo on air, I want people to see it. When did you kind of figure that like, hey, the staking the compute thing is an unlock that needs to be done?
Sorry, the question is, when did I realize when I needed to do that? Or
yeah, kind of like when was the aha moment thinking like, hey, this actually is important, what's needed with compute, because this wasn't done 6 months ago, it was kind of recent. So when was that moment where you're just like, this is kind of, was it based on kind of your understanding of the global market and AI, where things are heading with the demand out there? When did you realize that we need to focus on this aspect with staking and compute?
So I actually realized this in 2017,
Wow.
to be perfectly frank with you. And I obviously went on a completely different journey of working in decentralized science and DeFi. But I went to a meetup in Berlin in 2017 for Golem, which was like the OG decentralized compute protocol that raised like however much in Ethereum. And I'm not entirely sure what has happened to them, but that was like the first introduction to like decentralized compute for me. And it was around that time where I was starting to understand, like, decentralized compute can exist on chain as a token. And because, there are things that you can do in terms of creating utility, i.e., staking a token and then that enabling certain features. That was like the first time that I really thought about, staking compute being able to, do something for you through not through agentics, but like in general, it would enable some sort of functionality. Now, because we are living in the era of agentics right now, and I'm building a protocol for prediction markets specifically designed for agentics. Being in crypto for this long, and launching however many staking contracts at this point, I think it was just like inevitable. And also, if you take a look at the more successful projects out there right now, like Venice, perfect example of VVB being staked in order to get compute for DM in order to use their privacy LLM, right? So in the same sort of vein, I'm like enabling people being able to subscribe to predictions. And so, yeah, I think it was just only a natural piece of the protocol that was going to evolve into state compute.
Why don't we see this in action? And I think let's see the staking, because again, I think let's just see some demos, brother. Why don't you share it? Because I love seeing new applications being built and used, and I love the idea of the consensus. Your consensus, or their what is the tagline? Their alpha is your consensus.
Yeah, exactly. So
it predicted the BTC drop too, right?
Well, so when we first launched BV7x, the accuracy was quite high. And then as things got more chaotic, the accuracy has dwindled down. So like when we first launched, or when BV7x first launched, it was like at 70% accuracy in predicting Bitcoin being up or down, and the up or down markets on Polymarket, which was quite significant. And like me personally, I was making like quite a bit of extra USDC on Polymarket because of this, and as well as other markets as well, because there's other signals and features that you can pull into the API for BV7x. But can you see my screen right now?
Let me do it real quick. All right, now I can. And again, once again, shout out to the supporting sponsors, BV7x, which is you. Shout out to banker and also our presenting sponsor, which is Albemarle City, baby. Wallow.
Nice. So yeah, I mean, if you actually just go to BV7x.ai, I have two of the screens open right now. If you go here, you can just simply connect to the app right now. So the app is only, it's in closed beta, and it's only available to people that signed up for the last couple of months, just to reward early adopters with this 1 billion BV7x that's being dripped through the contract. By the way, the smart contract, it's fully battle tested. It's a synthetics contract. We even audited the contract and what we're doing here one more time with Ether Authority, so everything is like safe and sound. And I think that was actually kind of like the reason why people just really like piled in, because we did the audit, and there was already a whale group that was like basically waiting. But anyways, if you go into the app right now, it's quite simple. You can just take your BV7x. If you don't have any, you can also like buy it on Uniswap, and then you can stake here. But I guess another thing to show you is the other features in the app. So just give me 1 second. So because I have an admin wallet that I'm using here, the features that are going to be rolled out in the closed beta are one, being able to deploy your own custom agents. So we actually have like our own LLM like baked in here, so you can customize your own agents using natural language and deploy it on chain. Sorry, not on chain, off chain, and then you can wire that in through the API in order to participate in the tournaments. And so here, this is sort of still being staged, but there's weekly challenges where that will specifically focus on Bitcoin. and you'll have like some crazy visuals just visualizing the different kind of strategy agents that are out there. And then there's this arena where you'll be able to track all of the agents that are competing in the tournament. And so right now, these are actually all live agents that have been competing since February. So there's like roughly 5,200 agents. All have like on-chain credibility. They shows how many times they've actually predicted, shows their accuracy. And that's it for now. But the other thing that I think is important to call out is that we actually just set up the infrastructure for X402 micropayments through USDC, but not only on Base. It'll also be available on Solana and Robinhood, which I would say arguably are like the 3 hottest chains right now. So can't really see that obviously on the front end, but this is super important for like what we're doing, because this is very much a tournament or a protocol designed for agentics. And we want agentics to be, wagering.
Can you explain? Because a lot of people don't even understand what X402 is. If you don't mind, talk to us. Why is X402 a big deal?
X402 is a big deal. So number one, it's like this old school HTTP, micropayment protocol that launched, I don't know how many years ago, but it's been reintroduced. Coinbase launched this for Base specifically for micropayments. And what this means for agentics is that agentics can essentially just autonomously operate using micropayments to do whatever it is that they're designed to do. So this is the reason why when people are always kind of, people like hopping onto like the new narrative, right now Robinhood just came out. Everyone's like freaking out about like, Robinhood taking over and like meme coins trading there and stuff. But I mean, like, I'm building something that's designed very much for a future where there's autonomous like agents that are like operating specifically for, in this case, prediction markets to predict using like baked in strategies or model forecasting models. And so it's a very big thing that's happening not only on chain, but in being introduced to society in itself. Like this is the next era of finance, the next era of commerce. This is a very kind of incomprehensible thing that's happening right now. But I mean, within a year, I think a lot of people are really going to catch on. So anyways, to answer your question, X402 is sort of like this fundamental micropayment infrastructure that's designed for agents to really like flourish.
And how does it work then under the hood? If you said you're integrating Solana, you're integrating Robinhood, and obviously on Base, and I agree those are the 3 hottest chains bar none. How does it work on that end? Is it all tied? I guess this is just the back end stuff. How is it? Is it so it's all through USDC, right? So there's no new token needed, nothing of that nature with the way that system is run.
Yeah, so just imagine, so in general, right, like the infrastructure here is such that anyone or any agent, human or agent for that matter, can participate in this tournament. And the tournament is just predicting the price action of an asset that has an oracle on chain, which means we can do this for like Bitcoin, Solana, NVIDIA, tokenized stocks, what have you. And that's it, generally speaking, right? So like, yes, the origins are on Base, but I mean, for an agent to operate off chain, let's say, right? So like the off chain aspect of a strategy agent in BV7x is basically just an algorithm, right? That is baked into an agent that is designed to do something. So again, in this case, it's designed to predict or just, spit out a signal or a prediction and wager on that. And so now agents can have wallets, and these wallets have ERC-8004 or on-chain reputations associated with them. And because of that, now these things can have on-chain credentials, and through BV7x, you'll be able to monetize them, for example, like in the future, like if you want to actually specifically, basically just follow like one agent that's been crushing it in the tournament, you'll be able to do that not only on Base, but like you'll be able to do it on Solana. I mean, it's very easy to bridge, you know, even micropayments right now, right? So like, I don't know how many bridges there are right now, but if you want to like zap, let's say from like Base or from Solana or from Robinhood, you can do that easily. And so the idea is that like we have this tournament, we have this protocol where we can, you know, that's very much chain agnostic, that can bring in USDC wagers from like basically any chain, using all this, you know, this stuff that's available in the back end right now. And yeah, I guess it's just really important to understand that like we're very chain agnostic, and you know, I'm personally going after Robinhood and Solana and in Base right now just because like, you know, that's where all of the exciting stuff is happening right now.
What are your thoughts overall right now from a founder's point of view, with the current undertakings on Base? When you see Robinhood getting all the excitement, the attention, even Solana with the Ansem stuff has gotten a lot more attention than Base. Base is kind of, you know, the traders have left, the trenches have left. From a founder's perspective, how does that make you feel? Do you feel, I don't know, do you feel a little bit disheartened? Do you not care? Do you think Base Chain will get that interest again? How does it make you feel personally?
Well, I mean, so I guess a couple things there, right? I mean, like Base Chain isn't going anywhere. I mean, again, it is a chain that is effectively very much tied to the Coinbase. They did just release V20, a new, you know, token standard, which I'm curious to see how that's going to play out. I think it, you know, was announced or released around the same time where Robinhood Chain came out as well. And so obviously Robinhood is having all the attention right now. But I feel like I live in log time. Like I've been in crypto so long. 10 years in crypto is like 30 years. And I feel like you know what I'm talking about here. So I've been through the cycles. I've been through the hypes, through the launches of so many chains. And, you know, the ones that stay the test of time, like Ethereum, for example, like Solana, you know, it's like if you're building something like that I'm building right now, right? Like I'm building infrastructure that's designed for like every chain. I don't care where the USDC is coming from. You kind of, you know, have to sort of like pick your poison in a way in terms of like where you're launching. I think like for me, I found myself building on Base because I accidentally launched a token on Base. And I had no idea that anyone even cared about it until I started, you know, building out the protocol. So, and also just like as an entrepreneur and building like other DeFi protocols, like I've never looked at any chain as like any sort of like I would favor any chain over any other one. Obviously, like Ethereum, Solana, like the battle tested chains that have like the most security, the most TVL, the most volume, or like, you know, kind of like where you want to build, is where all the users are. But I have no fear or concern about, you know, let's say for me having BV7x origins on Base. Like I want to build on Robinhood, I want to build on Solana. I don't think there's going to be anything else really coming out beyond, you know, Robinhood, for example. But I mean, you know, it's if you have a meme, you know, and you're trading it specifically on chain, like you might be screwed. Like memes don't stand the test of time, right? Like they're forgotten. Like no one really cares. Maybe Pepe and Doge will everyone remember that because they just have crazy trajectories. But you know, I don't know if that answers your question.
It does. I think it makes good sense. I think if you're a builder building real infrastructure like you are, real tech, and you're chain agnostic, it doesn't really matter. If you're a meme coin founder, yeah, it does matter because volume is literally tied to the community consensus and the cult of wanting to come over. So makes a lot of sense. What's the next month or two looking like for you? Again, as the market has shown, and again, Base, the trenches are very dry right now. Volume is not there, but the building never stops. What are the main focuses going forward now that you're out of beta? Is it just perfecting the consensus or the staking for compute? Is it the consensus? Their alpha is your consensus. What are you most focused on at the moment?
Yeah, I mean, we're just getting started here, to be honest with you. I mean, just to recap, you know, BV7x in the early days, right? It was just a forecast model, basically. Like it wasn't really even a BitTensor protocol until probably like month 2 or 3, where I decided to speak to a few engineers that I knew, and I was like, well, it would be pretty cool if we could launch like many agents here and then start competing. And then I started really going into like the BitTensor sort of like setup of the protocolization of like BV7x. But the next, I mean, H2, let's just say, of this year, right? I mean, like the next step is actually launching the Bitcoin market in our new design. So that's something that's going to have to be tested. It's going to be released and tested as well as in the closed beta. It's going to be audited. So these things take time. And again, I'm doing this in a very like systematic way, because obviously there's so many prediction markets that we can launch all at once, but we're doing this a lot different than Polymarket or Kalshi. Polymarket, I mean, if you go to their prediction market for like specifically Bitcoin right now, they have a lot of different like time horizons, like 1 day to 7 day of Bitcoin being up or down. The thing is like BV7x is different from Polymarket, for example, because it offers a way for agentics to be a lot more granular with higher conviction in price action. So all Polymarket is just doing is saying, okay, Bitcoin is going to be up or down. Great, you can make a lot of money doing that. But here it's actually like designed for agentics to like really be super granular, which is great for if you're someone that's like looking for edge. Like now you have like a much more granular, higher conviction signal that you can pull in from our API into you trading spot or you trading perps. At the end of the day, it's just like it's a signal that we're offering through this agentic tournament. But anyways, I mean, like Bitcoin is the first market, then we're going to open it up to Solana, Hype, BNB. I mean, crypto is probably going to come, like the other crypto assets are going to come really fast after that. And then we're going to open it up to tokenized stocks. And then by 2027, we have, let's say, a bigger vision of expanding beyond like on-chain Oracle markets. But, there's a lot to cover there until we get there. So another really very interesting thing that is happening in this space right now is like inference has become very expensive because these frontier models are charging whatever they want, right? I mean, like Fable 5 came out, it's being rolled out in this like very, strategic way by Anthropic, arguably speaking. But you can see like how much higher inference cost is getting. And so there's things that are happening within this space. I'm working with this one guy, Chris Gilbert. I think you may have spoken to him the other day from UsePod. He's sort of like spearheading this whole inference capital markets thing that's kind of like, I guess, I don't know, you could say it's sort of exists on Solana right now, but I mean, he just launched X402 for UsePod on Base because I asked him to, which is great. But we want to have strategy creators or people that are launching agents on BV7x to have a great experience doing it. So that needs to be as cheap as it possibly can. And so like right now you have the beginning phases of inference capital markets sort of like introducing the concept of like, wait a minute, you don't actually have to like buy inference or compute from Anthropic or ChatGPT. Like you can do it through these like, secondary, tertiary markets, like UsePod. And so for us, like, I mean, I saw this, I spoke to Chris like several times already, and I was like, this is incredible because now, effectively you can increase your financial return if you have a strategy agent on BV7x because you've designed something that costs way, way, way cheaper rather than like, going all in on Fable or something like that. So there are things that are happening in the agentic, in the agent AI space right now that are very super sci-fi but super relevant for what the world and for how people are building in the space. Things that people are going to need to work with in the future. And so, kind of like full circle here, again, building infrastructure for the future. I don't care, that it's on base. I don't care like what other chains are getting, like, the attention, like one day after the other, right? Like I'm building this for like 5 or 10 years in the future.
Yeah, and I mean that's the right mindset you have to have. You have to have a long-term progression. And I think those are the type of founders that people like myself and the thousands tuning in, especially those that are in the trenches. I implore people to find believers in their project who think long-term, not the farmers, not the, well, let's just say for a month and done. Like you have to have a long-term vision. And those like yourself, Misha, who do, I think are going to do very, very well. We have to wrap things up now. We're at the top of the hour, but any last words, my friend? Like I said, main sponsor or a presenting sponsor of our show is Misha from BV7x. So I think highly of you. Again, guys, nothing I say is financial advice, but I do bring on projects and teams as sponsors that I believe in, and you're one person I do. Any last words, man, you have for the audience?
Yeah, I guess a couple of things. One, tomorrow I have a live stream with Chris Gilbert from UsePod. So that's going to be a super interesting conversation about how we're working together. We'll definitely be speaking about like X402 on Solana, on Base, on Robinhood, and how that is going to be relevant for BV7X. And then also, Take Compute is live. There's been significant demand for this. 30% of the supply is already being staked primarily from whales, which is great. It's great to see. It means that there's actually, significant interest in this. When we open this up to the public, which will probably be the next couple of weeks, maybe even sooner than that, we'll be bootstrapping a few more rewards, or not a few more rewards, like a significant amount of rewards from Clanker. So that's like another important thing, is that the more trading fees that happen on Clanker, the more we can feed in potentially into the staking contract. But yeah, we're just getting started. Things are looking great. Stake Compute, I wanted to make sure that was super secure, safe for everyone to use. There is no lock. So you can stake, you can claim, you can auto compound if you want. Super easy to do. And yeah, I'll just leave it at that. Pleasure being here, and always having great discussions with you, man.
Yeah, well, listen, man, I'm excited to keep on bringing you on, keep on working with you guys, because I believe in it. Like I said, I don't believe in many things, but I do believe in what you're building, and it's refreshing to hear a founder of your stature who doesn't care about the price at the moment, is just focused on building. Attention will come back, and yeah, man, I just really think what you're doing is super novel, and I can't wait to see how things progress. So, my friend Misha, always a pleasure, and of course, we will do this again sometime soon.
Awesome. Thanks, man.
All right, brother. All right. That's Misha from BV7X. Great guy, smart guy. Yeah, we had Chris Gilbert on from Squire, and he said nothing but good things. Both of them are really solid S-tier devs in the space, so it's great having them on. All right, guys, listen, we are going to wrap things up. We do this show Monday through Thursday, noon PST. So no show tomorrow because your boy's got a life. He can't be doing this every single day, but the show goes on. This is the place where you get alpha. This is the place where you get interesting insight from amazing builders, amazing people who see the market and can give you, kind of an idea of what's going on. All right, everyone. Until next time, which is Monday, Bill is out. And, if you guys ever want to get a hold of me, shoot me a message on DM on X. All right, guys. Peace.